Kadosh Boker Tov, we're going to continue with Daf Kufnun He, Kufnun Vav Amud Aleph, which is 156, but we're just going to start on the last line of Kufnun He Amud Bet. The Gemara says, Tonu Rabbanan, we learned in a Braita, En Govlin et Kali, Yesh Omrim Shegovlin. There's machloket, do we actually mix flour, which is like toasted kernels, right, or not? And some people say that you do, some people say you're allowed to. So who's the Yesh Omrim that says that you're allowed to? Rav Chasta says Rav Chasta, Rav Yosef Yudahi. But that's as long as you're going to change, meaning that you're not doing it in a normal fashion, you're actually changing something. So it says the Gemara, Hechi Mishani, how are you changing? Rav Chasta says Rav Yad al Yad, which means little by little. The fact that you're doing little by little, that's what's going to permit it. Vishavim, and both the Tanakama and the Yesh Omrim, which is Rav Yosef Rav Yudah, they both agree Shebochashin et hashatit b'Shabbat, that you're allowed to come and start mixing the shatit, right, on Shabbat. So here you're allowed to mix it with a spoon on Shabbat, and there's no problem of kneading, right? Veshotim zitoma mitzri, you're allowed to drink zitoma mitzri. This is like a type of a drink which helps to make that, like, to open up the stomach, like diarrhea type of thing, to let a loose stomach, okay? So says the Gemara, the Amarta en Govlin. I thought you said that you're not allowed to mix it together. So the Gemara has a question, which means if it's thick, so then it's isur lisha. If it's very rach, right? So then there's no lisha min Torah. Meaning like this: if it's going to be thick, so then there's a problem of kneading. If it's very liquidy, very runny, so then there's no problem of kneading min Torah, and therefore it's going to be permitted. But that's only if you change something. How are you going to change it? Rav Yosef says, during the weekday, you first put the vinegar, and then you put the kemach, the flour. On Shabbat, you do the opposite. You first put the flour, and then you put the vinegar, which means a change sometimes could be little by little, or a change sometimes could be you reverse the order. For example, do you know there's a chumrah of Ben Sion? A lot of people don't do it, but there's a chumrah of Ben Sion that even to mix tuna with mayonnaise might be a problem of kneading. So what are you supposed to do? Instead of putting the tuna and then you put the mayonnaise on top and then you mix it together, do the opposite. Put the mayonnaise and then you put the tuna. And by switching the order, it would be permitted. Or sometimes would switch it that instead of mixing it like this, you would do crisscross. Something like that. So by doing that, you're changing. And by the fact that you're changing, it's going to become permitted. Okay? Levi bered Rav Huna bar Chia ashkechel legavle de Benashia. Once, Levi, the son of Rav Huna bar Chia, he found the shomer be'emot of his fathers, and he was in charge of mixing the food. The kagabi that he was mixing it together, kneading it together, and then he was giving it to the shore. So Batashbe, he told him, what are you doing? So he found them, this is what your grandfather said in Shnei Derav. Umanu, who is that? Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba. Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba, okay, govlim velo masfim. You're allowed to do it for animals on Shabbat, right? But we are not allowed to actually give it to them. That means we're not allowed to put it into their mouths where they can't take it back. Lalakit blishne, right? An egel katan, which he still doesn't know how to eat properly, malkitinle, you are allowed to give it to him. But as long as you change it. So you see, for an animal, you are allowed to do it. So says the Gemara, how do you change it? You do crisscross. Again, that's what I told you. Instead of doing a mixed or round one, whatever it is, you're doing like a zigzag. So says the Gemara, you're not mixing it properly. You mix it together, right, with water, and then it mixes on itself. So Kativa Pinka said so you wrote it down, that I said it in front of Rebbe. Umani, who is that? Rabbi Chia. Okay, so Ma'u legabel, so the Gemara is going to say, are you allowed to change? Amar asur, he said asur. Ma'u lefarek, are you allowed to take it off from one cleave, from like a utensil? Amar mutar, he said it's going to be permitted. So Amar Menashe achad mikam echad, to put one mana in front of an animal, right, in front of one animal, meaning one meal in front of one animal, or two in front of two animals, shapidam is permitted. 3 in front of 2 animals, it's going to be prohibited. Okay, because that's considered like a tircha that you don't need. You don't need that. It's an extra necessity which you don't really need. Okay, so now says the Gemara. Okay, Rav Yosef kav v'afilu kabayim. Rav Yosef says you're allowed to put a kav or even kabayim in front of it. Ula amar kur v'afilu kurayim. Ula says even a kur or 2 kurs. Tiva Pinka said the Levi, so you've said it in front of Levi. Amritu kamed kodam Rebbe. They said in front of Rebbe. Okay, Umanu, who is that? Rabbeinu HaKadosh, Ravidah Nasi. Okay, 2 dots. Al dahavu gavlin shetita bevavel, vavatzavach Rebbe. So what happened was that there were certain people that they were coming, they were mixing the shetita of Bavel, which was very thick, right? And Rebbe was screaming, who is that? Rabbeinu HaKadosh. Al dahavu gavlin shetita bevavel, they weren't listening to Velet chelad biyadeh mesar, but he didn't have the strength to prohibit it because of Yosef Rebbe Yehuda, which means that since he said it was permitted, and they were doing like him, so therefore they had what to rely on. So he didn't have the strength to come and to start prohibiting it. So Ketiva Pinka said that Yeshua ben Levi, Hayman dechad b'Shabbat, somebody that's going to be born on Sunday, Yeh Gevar, should be a person shalem, which means complete, whole, right? Velo chadabe, and there won't be one thing, which means there won't be another type of a midah in him. Mai velo chadabe, what does it mean? There's not going to be anything else with him. If there's not going to be anything good, Rashi said, I was born on the Sunday. So if I'm born on Sunday, it should be okay. Elalav, Chad Alavishun, not even a bad midah. Ravashi says, we were both born on Shabbat, on Sunday. Ana Melech, I became Rosh Yeshiva. Vehu Havaresh Kanaven, he was a thief. So how does it work that he's a thief and I'm a Rosh Yeshiva? We're both born on Sundays. Ela, it means either you're all going to be good or all going to be bad. So it's either going to be a big tzaddik or a big rasha. That's what it sounds like. Okay? So says the Gemara, Hayman, we skip those brackets. Hayman, Dimitre B'Shabbat, somebody that's born on Monday, Yegevar Ragzan will be very, very angry. Be a person that, somebody that gets very, very angry. So the next time you see a good Moroccan Jew, that he gets angry, that he gets his temper thing, you say, you were born on Monday. And that's what you're going to ask him. My time, what's the reasoning? Shum dipligu b'maya, because the waters were divided on Monday, which means on the second day of creation, the waters were divided from the firmament above and below. So therefore, that's why because of kas, because of anger, people get divided. Hayman devitlata b'Shabbat, so he's going to be born on Tuesday. Yekvaratir will be rich. Vezana yehe, but it could be that he's going to be a person very, how do you call it, noef. He's going to be more immoral, a person that's very immoral. My tama, what's reasoning? Shum dibrebe asabim, because the asabim, right, which are the grass and everything, which comes to procreate, comes very, very quickly. So therefore, it could be that he'll be very immoral, which is pritzut, and osher, and wealth. Sometimes it comes hand in hand, sometimes, right, or many times. Okay, Haman de ba'arba b'Shabbat, if somebody's going to be born on Wednesday, yeh givar chakim v'nahir, will be very smart and a nice face. My time, what's the reasoning? Mishum de'it lebe meorot, because the sun and the moon were placed on Wednesday. Hayman v'chamsha b'Shabbat, it's going to be on Thursday. Yegevar gomel chasdim, will be a person that always do chesed. My time, what's the reasoning? Mishum dibrebe dagim ofo, because you have the fish and the birds, right? Which it says that they do with a chesed v'kosh baruch hu, that he gives them mazon, he gives them parnasah. Hayman de ma'aleh v'Shabbat, somebody say erev Shabbat. Yegevar chazran, a person will be a person that's mechazer. What does that mean? You'll always be trying to do mitzvot, just like on Friday you're trying to do mitzvot to prepare for Shabbat, the same thing. If somebody is going to be born on Shabbat, he will die on Shabbat. Because it was mechalel Shabbat. But he will be called a person which is parush v'kadosh. Those are v'kadeshel. So
but when you're born on Shabbat, it's pikuar nefesh, so it's not that you desecrated Shabbat.
Yes, but at the end of the day, it's still considered chilul Shabbat. So even though you are allowed to do it, it's not supposed to. If you remember, we once brought this down in the Sefer Torat Yoledet. There it's brought down that even though there's an inyan to do on Friday night, but that means if it's 9 months later, it will come out that the birth will be on Shabbat. But still, there's a special tefillah to say not to be born on Shabbat in order not to be mechalel the Shabbat. Because at the end of the day, you're still mechalel Shabbat. Saying it's pikuach nefesh, you have a heter. But at the end of the day, they had to be mechalel Shabbat for you. So there's a whole thing about that. So that's why...
I was born on Shabbat, this is why.
You were born on Shabbat. Okay. Fine. I was also born on Shabbat, but I think I was Motzei Shabbat, which means that my father had to take me to the hospital on Shabbat. But okay. I think it was Motzei Shabbat I was actually born. I think it was right by, because it was winter time, and I think I was born around 6 p.m. and it was in Toronto, so I think it was right by Masechet Shabbat, but it was on Shabbat itself. But my father had to take it because I was born on December 24th. So it was Erev the Chag of the Goyim. So because of that, it wasn't like, you could call up an ambulance or whatever. Everything was crazy, you understand? So my father himself had to take, my mother to the hospital, but, it was a Chilul Shabbat, but I don't remember if I was actually born on the Shabbat in itself or was Mamash on the Motzeh.
Okay.
Fine. So then it says over here, so that means even though, again, it's going to be a Chilul Shabbat, but he's still going to be Kadosh, and Parush, segregated and holy. So that's
good.
Yeah, that's
good.
So then it's okay. Very good. So what happened? So it says over here, Amar lehu Rabbi Chanina, says Rabbi Chanina, Huku amaru le bar Levai. Go say this to Bar Levai, to Bishop Levi. Lo mazal yom gorem, and le mazal asha gorem. He says, but don't realize that it's not the day, it's the hour. Because in the day, there are hours as well. Haiman de Bechama, if somebody's going to be born in the Shlita of the Chama of the sun, Yeh Gevar Zivtan. It'll be somebody that's very shining with a radiance, just like the sun. Yeh Achil Midile V'Shatim, he's going to eat and drink from his own self, just like the sun gives over. It's not like the moon that is accepting. The sun is always giving over, so he's going to drink and eat from himself. Rezuhi Galyan, and he will have the Sodot, secrets revealed to him. Im Ganiv Lo Matzliach, if he's going to try to steal, he will never have that tzlacha. Haiman de V'Kochve Naga, if he's going to be born in the Kochav Noga, which I think is Saturn, no? Saturn? I don't remember how you translate Kochav Noga in English. One of them, I think, was Saturn. I don't remember. Maybe that was Tzedek. I don't remember.
Mercury.
It says Mercury. Okay, so the Mercury. So if it's going to be Mercury, Yegavar Atid is going to be rich. Bezenayen, he'll be immoral. My tamotzu is name Mishum Ditzle Ben Nuda. As it says, because of the fire of the tava, of the desires. Haiman de Kochav, if somebody's going to be born in the star, but what is this, and how do you translate this one? Of the star?
I don't see. Venus. No, the first one was Venus, and this one might be Mercury.
Okay,
the first one, Venus.
That's what it is. So Venus, and then the second one is Mercury. So Yegavar Nahi V'Chakim is going to be very, very smart. Mishum Safra de Chamahu, because he's a fan of the Shemesh. Okay, Haiman de Levana, it's going to be in the Levana, which is the moon. Yegavar Savil Mar'in, he will get a lot of sicknesses. Banai V'Satir, Satiru Banai, he will build and destroy and build. Just like the moon always receives, and it becomes bigger and smaller, smaller and bigger. You understand? He will eat and drink something that's not his. Because Yani won't have, his secrets will be hidden. In Ganav Matzach, if he's going to be a thief, he will have a tzachah. Haiman de V'Shabtai, if somebody's going to be born in Saturn, his machshavot will be batel. Some will say, right? Anything that people think about him will be mitbatel. Haiman de V'Tzedek, if it's going to be a tzedek, Yegavar Tzadkam will be a tzaddik. Aman of Nachman bar Yitzchak says Nachman Yitzchak, Tzadkam b'mitzvot will be a tzaddik, a bal tzedakah. That's what it means. Okay? Haiman de Ma'adim, if he's going to be born this is going to be in the Mars, which is Ma'adim. Okay? Yeheh, Givar Ashed Dema, he'll be a person that spills blood. So Ravashi says, Iumana, he'll be a bloodletter. Iganavar, he'll be a murderer, right? Or a thief. Itabacha, or a shochet, or like a butcher. Imuala, or a mohel, he'll be one of these. So Rabba says, Anam Ma'adim Abai. I'm a Ma'adim. He was born a Ma'adim. Amar Abaye says, Man nami ani shekati. You also killed someone. Which means that you put people to death because they go against your will, and then that also, right, is considered like you killed. Okay? Hold on one second.